Yes, I'm glad to see everyone here and updating your backgrounds and looking good. Tell me in the chat, are you new here? Tell me how many think tanks, how many of our weekly sessions you've been to. I want to know who all you guys are. I want to see you in the Facebook group. I want to see you going through our training materials, 9, 3, 8, 13-ish, newbie. Welcome everybody. Haven't missed one yet. I know Mitch has been a Vendasta partner for 6 years. Is that right? Amazing. Okay. So anyone who's new here, or you've only been here for a few sessions, Conquer Local Academy is to help you start, grow, and scale your agency. And we're focusing on local, and there's a lot of special things that we want to do with local, not just because of the current crisis, but things that we know will work well from Google. I'm your primary instructor, Dennis Yu, and I'm speaking to you in this camera. I was speaking in the other camera before, and I'm bringing together all the best experts in local. So of course we have awesome people like Andrew and George and Brendan. Today we have Kieran O'Brien, and he's going to share some thoughts on local and how he's growing his agency, and there's a lot that we can learn from him. Today's topic is the menu. And I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see. Now, for those who have not been with us before, we are now into week 16, I believe. You guys see this okay? Give me a holler, give me a yes in here if you guys can see this okay. Okay, so for those who haven't been with us, we started by defining what our niche is, our lighthouse. Our XYZ, the model of, I help X achieve Y through Z, because we're setting our niche positioning. And when we know exactly who we go after, maybe it's body shops or it's chiropractors. John and I Cordray were on the phone with Glenn Vo. You guys remember Glenn Vo from last week? We're building up some amazing programs for those of you guys who want to serve dentists. You guys are going to love what we're going to have in a week from now. But when you have that niche, that lighthouse, that key client that you can then replicate via a process to help other people in that niche get the same result, that's when you start to scale up. Because once you have one or two, and all you need is one or two, then you could easily have 100, because then you have virtual assistants, you have processes, you're pre-recording videos, you have packages. That's when you start to build your brand. When you start to generate income, you're able to bootstrap, meaning you reinvest what you have earned back into getting your stuff out there to that particular niche, interviewing your lighthouse like we're doing with Glenn Vo, interviewing whoever is in the industry as part of your topic wheel. You guys remember that? It's part of your personal brand, and that drives more inbound to you. Now, if we look at 11, 12, and 13, you guys remember that we're saying thank you in different ways. We're interviewing other people on their authority and on their expertise, so that we're not having to talk about ourselves. We know our personal brand is the sum of what other people have to say about us. When we collect those positive mentions, when we put it out there, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a 15-second thank you, whether it's a snippet that's made from content that someone else has made where you're honoring them and thanking them, that's building authority that you're putting in your content library, that then you're able to put into something that you've codified, your knowledge like a book. Guys, remember we talked about why it's important to publish a book? If you have that clear lighthouse, let's say you're serving auto shops, then you can call this the body shop's repair guide to your digital marketing, or whatever analogy. Or Chris Kiocho, his thing is called the flight plan, right? So he's serving the aviation industry. So if you've got that niche, you have all these other pieces that fit together. The next step, which we want to talk about today, is the menu. So who here has been to a restaurant recently? Let's go back to gallery view so I can see all your faces. Who's been to a local restaurant? Tell me what your favorite restaurant is. And I'll introduce Kieran in just a minute. Now or prior to COVID? The Poorhouse, of course. What else? Takeout only, says Brian. Fogo de Chao, I love Brazilian barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Chuy's. Yeah, Johnny Black. Tacos. Are you in Austin? People will argue over that. Keegan's, my wife's cooking. That's right. Happy wife is a happy life. Jimmy John's. All right. Portillo's. Oh, yes. There's a Portillo's just 3 or 4 miles from here. They have that that chocolate cake ice cream. Have you guys had that? It's incredible. It's like diabetes in a jar or whatever you want to, steakhouses. All right. Now, every one of the restaurants that you guys have mentioned, do they have a menu? Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah, I go to Panda Express. I'm Chinese. I love you.
There we go.
I love all that. Yes, they do have a menu. Why do they have a menu? Let me tell you, tell me, why do they have it? To make decisions easier to order, clarity. Yeah. Choice, selection. So you can self-select, upsell. So you know what they have. Yes, Jeff. Okay. Those are all correct. Control the cost of food, limited items. The menu is what maps back to their operations, because if people order things on the menu, that tells the cooks in the back what they can make. Now, what happens if you're a restaurant and you don't have a menu? Because you're like, you know what? In the Kieran and Dennis restaurant, you can order anything you want. You want barbecue chicken, you want pizza, you want club soda. I can do anything that you want, right? I mean, you would think that that restaurant would be the most successful restaurant in town, because no, Bruce, no, because then I'm offering everything. I'm going to be able to service everyone, because I'm going to have a Mexican, I'm going to have barbecue, I'm going to have hamburgers. That way, everyone's going to come to my restaurant, right? No? Well, that's not going to work, huh? Bruce, why not? Unmute yourself and tell us why not. Why won't that work?
Well, because you're going to have a confused customer. They don't know what you're offering. They don't know, you may have a name outside, but what's your niche? What are you offering? What's your style? So I mean, if you walk in there blindly and you're looking at something, so what do you got? They want to be able to look at something and select something, or have an idea of what your offer is, or what you do have to offer.
Yeah. So what do you call a place that offers everything? It's a cafeteria. Do you guys remember the cafeteria? Is that your favorite place to go?
Buffet,
I didn't see anybody name
Walmart.
cafeteria.
Someone said Walmart.
The Walmart, the food court, right? Call it the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, you know what? I actually like the cheesecake. You like the Cheesecake Factory?
They still have a big menu though.
They do.
Still a menu.
There's still a menu though, right? I mean, is there something on the menu you can't order there at the Cheesecake? I've had their sushi. I think it's questionable.
I haven't had their sushi before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to Cheesecake Factory for sushi.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Oklahoma City a couple of years ago for a client, and bless their hearts, they've never left Oklahoma, but they own a chain of banks and things like that there. And they asked me, where do you want to go to eat? And I wasn't thinking, and I said, sushi. They're like, oh yeah, these guys are like 60 and 70, and like, oh, I got the best restaurant in town, the best sushi you will ever had in your life. And I've been to Tokyo many times, right? And the sushi was basically Panda Express, but I didn't want to offend them, and they're a client and all that. So, but you wouldn't think of, when you think of Oklahoma City, you don't think of sushi, do you?
No.
Would you eat the sushi in Oklahoma City, Kieran?
I'd try it.
Yeah. So you want to be known. Isn't it better to be known for something? Now, what happens with agencies? Now, let's be honest, okay? I want you guys to tell me in the chat, what is your lighthouse? What are you known for? Whether you actually have world-class expertise in that area, what's the one thing, like, I do this for orthodontists, and I'm really good at doing it for orthodontists, whether or not you have any orthodontists or not. What's your thing? Real estate agent, hotels, Kairos, senior housing. That's right, Shelly. Chiropractic. Says Bonnie. Bonnie, you don't have to do it privately. Tell everyone here. We're all friends here. So would we agree that it's important to have a lighthouse, to have a focus that you do? So when you think of Chick-fil-A, you think of chicken sandwiches. They don't serve hamburgers, right? That'd be like an April Fool's thing that Chick-fil-A says they're going to order or have hamburgers on their menu. Property damage restoration contractors. Holy moly, Malcolm. That's right. Because how many other people are trying to compete to drive leads for property damage restoration contractors? My goodness. CBD businesses, that's a tough one. AV and residential solar, that's great. Okay, so if we know and we agree, does anyone not agree? So just we move forward. Does anyone not agree that it's important to have one main focus, and it's easier to scale 100 HVAC companies than even 10 companies in random industries?
Mm-hmm.
Do we agree? Does anyone disagree? Because if not, let's unmute you and let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, Ryan says colleges. And Ron Morris, you want to unmute yourself, Ron? Ron and I had a chat a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
So Ron, explain your position.
Well, I don't disagree with necessarily the idea that you can focus on a niche and be successful. But I also think that you can be successful providing a specific area of expertise to a wide variety of businesses.
But that's still a lighthouse. Because if you focus on SEO, or you focus on building websites, or you focus on, like Kieran's launching MediaKit.com, don't go there, it's not quite ready yet. That's something that you're known for, right? Because the key is, remember last week we said there's 3 ways that you can differentiate. What are those 3 ways? One is by vertical, which is the most common, most powerful one. Chiropractors, real estate agents. What was it? Oh wow, all these different. You guys have some interest. So it's they're in yellow pages. They're called headings, right? Personal injury attorney. So 1 is by vertical, 2 is by geography. So I think Ron, you're in LA. Is that right?
Yes.
So maybe you service LA, and because of your relationships and the salespeople and your model of generating business, then you're able to service everyone in LA. So if I'm in Phoenix, then that's going to be different. I have to franchise out Ron's model, right? Like a sales-driven model. Third model is an expertise-led model. So maybe I do video editing, and so I'm known for video editing. But whichever one of these 3 areas, you have to develop credible, believable expertise. So
and I don't disagree. What I disagree, it sounded like you were just focusing on one of those 3 elements. When you're talking about the lighthouse, you were saying auto body shops or chiropractors or this type of thing. That's what I was disagreeing with. Was I agree with you can pick one of those 3 and be known. We're known for helping businesses get found online.
Yeah. But even if you take something, Ron, like helping businesses get found online, who do we think of as the dominant player in that?
Yelp.
And do you want to compete against Yelp?
No,
Because you want to be like, no question, the world champ, undefeated, undisputed leader in that category, right? So if I want to dominate dentists, I'm going to go after Glenn Vo, and I'm going to create content all day. Like, is John here? Wave if you're here, John, so I can see you. There you are. So John is built. So John, unmute yourself and tell everyone, what are we doing with Glenn Vo? Or what are you doing at Glenn Vo, and why is that powerful?
We are working on his personal brand manager, and we're helping him develop some videos to go along with what he's promoting. And so for those of you who were here last week, we're actually turning what he did last week into a mini course on how to help other marketers learn to market to dentists. And so we're elevating his authority by doing a lot of content that's based around his personal brand manager. And we have some other things that we're working on as well, book, a masterclass. So all those things that we're doing is elevating his status. He's already well known in the dentistry field, but we are working on building it even stronger. And then to help others like myself, I'm kind of like the person that he's ever wanting to reach, learning how to reach those who are wanting to market to dentists.
So Glenn Vo has 24,000 dentists that follow him, and he's a practicing dentist. And John, full disclosure, how many dentist clients do you have?
Big zero. None.
Okay. And is Glenn aware of this?
No. I haven't told him.
Well, but is Glenn aware of your intent with him?
Yes.
And what did he say about that?
He said he is wanting to help me learn how to market to dentists.
Is there anyone on the planet that would have more authority in helping you get more dental clients than Glenn Vo?
Absolutely not.
Even if you had Brendan King sitting next to you, would that help you get more dentists?
No, Glenn, Dr. Vo is definitely the one.
Okay. Now, of everyone else out here, do you have a Glenn Vo? Tell me yes or no. Not Glenn Vo particularly, but the Glenn Vo of your category that you want to dominate. And even if they're not your client yet, so Dr. Glenn is not John's client yet, but he will be because of what we're building. Not yet. Okay, so if the answer is no or not yet, what is stopping you? Because we need to have this answered before we can talk about the menu. It's absolutely key to have this part anchored before the menu. And then I'm going to ask Kieran some questions about this. 2 new, need to find 1. Yes, working on it. Nothing, we're going to make it happen. That's right. Knowledge. So Jerry, unmute yourself for a second. Why do you think you need more knowledge?
I'm literally just 2 weeks in, really. I'm kind of catching up with everything. My mind's boggled. I like the fact that you've asked me, why do I think I need to have knowledge? If I don't need to have knowledge, then I am boots in and all. So yeah, I'm just kind of not trying to rush anything too quickly at this moment in time. As soon as I've got my lighthouse, then I'm all in.
There you go. That's right. And so we're not prescription before diagnosis is malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you listen to Anthony Robbins all day long and you decide you want to learn how to do surgery tomorrow, it's probably not a good idea. I wouldn't go to that surgeon, right? So I agree with you. What I would say though is choose a lighthouse, and you can always change your mind later, because when you have, everything else falls into place. So the fact that John chose dentists, it's immediately obvious to his network and to me who he needs to be able to find. And if you don't have knowledge, and by the way, some of us here on the call have large agencies, medium-sized agencies. This is not just for these concepts apply to anyone in any level. So we coach the world's largest agency, Omnicom. They're an agency holding company. I think there's something like $22 billion in billing, something like that. So we coach them on the same principles. So don't think like, just because you're an established agency, don't think that what we're teaching here doesn't apply to you. Do you think like Michael Jordan says like, you know what, I'm so good at basketball, I don't need to practice free throws anymore. Yeah, what would happen there? So when you have a lighthouse, figure out who the Glenvo is or other people that are Glenvo-like that you can approach to interview. And if you don't have the knowledge, what do? You say, hey, I'm starting my podcast focusing just on orthopedic surgeons or just on car dealerships or mortgage brokers or whoever it is, right? And not having the knowledge and being very clear, Jerry, about not having that knowledge is actually to your advantage, because the last thing you want to do is misrepresent your capabilities.
Okay.
I see a lot of folks going out there trying to pitch and they don't have any clients, and and they say, you know, the prospect says, so tell me, give me like 3 other references that you've done this for. And you're flat-footed because you don't really have one, because you haven't built a lighthouse yet, meaning you've proven it by example and you've templated it and other people can follow that. And that's okay. You can say, look, this is my focus and I want to do such a good job for you. This is reframing. I want to make you, remember Glenn talked about, I want to make you my VIP client. I want to, give you the sweetheart deal. And you explicitly say, because I want to get more clients that are also real estate agents or whatever the area is. And so they understand you have an explicit economic interest to do really well. I want to do such a good job that you want to tell everyone about it, but I only want to talk about that when I have achieved this thing, when we're doing so well. You're like, man, that I'm so glad I'm working with Jerry. And Jerry is the one, if you want to work with X is the lighthouse. Remember, I help X achieve Y through Z. That's where you want to go. So Heather, we've talked about in I think episodes 2 and 3 about how do you pick a lighthouse client. So if you have not gone through the previous 16 episodes, then all of this stuff is laid out. And if you're watching this on the replay, don't feel like you need to keep going at this point. If you're missing any one of these components, like you don't understand personal branding or a topic wheel or choosing a niche or why you need to connect on LinkedIn or why you if you don't understand those, go back. I totally get the #1 need for new agencies is they want leads. But if you just jump straight into lead gen and you don't have that clear direction, you'll get the leads, but those leads won't close. Or if you're able to sell and convince them, they're not going to retain and be clients. Like you want clients that continue to pay you, not just from a reputation standpoint, because remember Glenn said word gets out among people who don't do a good job. And so they all talk amongst, you don't want to be one of those. You don't want to be the people they're talking about because they talk. Believe me, I've coached thousands of agencies, they talk. It's also key for retention because the lifetime value of that customer goes up. You guys know what the average retention rate is for digital agencies? How long? Just take a guess in the comments.
2 months.
You guys are pretty close. It's 3 months.
3.
Yeah, 3 months. You guys are right. So what if you're able to keep a client for a year, which is actually not very long, versus 3 months? Now that client's worth 4 times more.
Yep.
Now you can afford to put in 4 times more effort because you're keeping them. Our buddy Welton Hong, he services the funeral homes. I think he's got 167 of them that he charges $2,500 a month for. His retention rate is like 98 point something %. And he just lost one of his first clients last month, who's a funeral director. You know what happened? He died.
Oh, wow.
And he went
The
to the guy's funeral too in Las Vegas. I'm like, oh man, Welton, what is the irony of that? The funeral director died on you. Well, I guess you can't have 100% retention. He became a customer, says Bruce. That's right. We're dying to meet you. That's the joke in the funeral home industry. They anyway, I won't go down that path. There's like lots and lots of dark humor. And so Welton's the #1 player in funeral homes. Because how many other digital marketers do you know that really focus down on the funeral home? I mean, that's sort of a grim thing. Like I've asked him many times, so dude, how did you decide like funeral homes? Like of all the, that's a whole nother story. Okay. So if you put in the work to all the stuff that we talked about in the first 16 episodes, to choose the niche, to build your content, to have your operating guide or the book that you put out, make sure you have the knowledge, make sure you're competent, make sure you understand the Vendasta platform and how it does the work for you, then we agree the next step is to talk about the menu when the customers come to you, right? So we're going to talk about the menu now. So when you've chosen that niche, fried chicken sandwiches, or when you choose any niche, Mexican, right? Whatever it might be, you immediately think of whoever the top people are in that niche, right? You want to be the one that they think of. And it's different when you have the perceived authority when they come to you. Now, what happens when the customer comes into your restaurant? Like, tell me, so Kieran, tell us, what happens when you go to your favorite restaurant and you walk in the door for a sit-down restaurant? What happens?
Get service at the door, seated, you get handed your menus are on the table, you get showed your seat.
So when you sit down and the waiter says, Kieran, let me tell you about today's special. You know, we have the surf and turf, and you also might want to try the soup and these, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's the Cheesecake Factory. No, it's not. It's like, it's a Mexican restaurant, let's say. And you're like not sure what you want. Cause like, I don't know, maybe I want the chicken or the fish, or maybe I want the salad cause I'm feeling fat cause I had too much like, barbecue yesterday. Then what does the waiter say?
I don't know.
Well, tell me more about what you like. Are you trying to do low fat? Are you more like fish?
Okay.
Oh, let me make a recommendation based on what you like. Oh, you tell me what you like. I make a recommendation. And that's what us as partners are doing.
Yeah.
But how many of us as partners are also trying to cook the food in the kitchen too? Are any of you guys waiters and you're also cooks in the kitchen? And let's say you're a really good cook. I'm a good cook. You guys remember Yan Can Cook for any of us that are over 40? You guys remember? That was an awesome TV show. Yeah? Okay. Chief cook, bottle washer. That's right, David. In my house. Yes, and busboy too. Let me ask you. Tell me in the comments. What happens if you are cooking in the kitchen? Let's say you're a great cook. You can chop potatoes. You can fry up whatever. You can wash dishes and you're good. You can do everything inside the kitchen. What happens when you're inside the kitchen most of the time and someone walks into the restaurant and there's no one else there? Hello? Is anyone here? You're waiting there at the thing where you're trying to get seated and you're busy there cooking. What's happening? You don't see them. You lose a customer. That's right. So would you agree? Yeah, they lose interest, says Bruce. Would you agree that in your restaurant, your agency, I'm using an analogy, that I have to say explicitly because some people think, especially our international agency partners, they think like, I need to open a restaurant. No, I'm using an analogy here. So us as partners, we are talking to the customer, assessing their needs, collecting their goals, content, and targeting, answering questions they have. We have a menu where we're showing them, this is what we have to offer, and they can choose. Hopefully your menu's nicer looking than this handwritten one, right? And that way they can say, you know what? I'm gonna have the chicken marsala, please. Are you guys hungry at all? And you guys about to eat? And I'm making you hungry by talking about food. John's been in meetings all day, so you've probably not had a chance to eat. But when you have, by the way, do you know why places like Denny's and McDonald's and other more like QSR, they're called quick serve restaurants. You know why they moved to picture menus? You guys remember like in the last 15 years, these restaurants have moved to picture menus? Why are they doing that?
Makes the decision easier.
Yeah, and they can see it. It's faster. It's tempting. Malcolm says it's fast. Teresa says she's eating. People buy with their eyes. That's right. But the other thing too is that when you are, let's pretend you're a customer and you're sitting down and the waiter, I'm your waiter. I've handed you the menu. And when you immediately see that juicy thing, that bypasses your logical filter, calculating mind, rational left brain, right? You got it, left brain, right brain, like logical, rational, or, emotional. And people will naturally just choose like that reptilian instinct. It's kind of like thinking fast and slow, Daniel Kahneman. Yeah, and the emotions take over. That's right, Urban. And it's easier because you see clearly, like, this is exactly what I'm getting. I understand what I'm getting, okay? It just makes it easy to make a choice because people can see what it is. So when you have a package, when you have that item on the menu and people can see what it is and they see that here's the components of our local business survival kit. Here's what you get for digital plumbing. Here's what you get when we run ads. Here's what you get when we set up a landing page here. And they can see like what it is. Are they more or less likely to buy? That's right, Malcolm. It's like Waffle House. Waffle House used to have an all you can eat for $5.49. It was amazing. And you point at the thing that you want. The real reason why restaurants have picture menus, why they started that 20 years ago? I actually talked to the head of marketing at McDonald's, the CMO at McDonald's. We were at a conference and 2 years ago, we talked about that. That's what happens when you're a speaker. Backstage, you get to have these really cool conversations that unfortunately are not recorded. Because like he was about to go on stage and I just finished speaking and we just chatted for like 5 minutes. And he told me the reason why is most people are functionally illiterate. Isn't that crazy? And how many people want to admit, like when they go to a Denny's, which is a shame because it's sort of like after my name, so I feel like I have to go there even though I have like no relationship to them. They're based in Greenville, South Carolina. We've done a little bit of work for them. But these people, they don't want to admit that they don't know how to read. Like they know how to read a few words, but it's just kind of embarrassing. So most people, and then you might laugh at that, say, ha, 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 I have a college degree and I can read and write and all that. All these books back here I've actually read. But do you know when businesses, these local businesses are shopping on your menu and they're trying to understand what SEO is and listings and reputation management, they're basically illiterate in our area of expertise. Would you agree? They're illiterate. I'll have a number 2. Oh, okay. So if they're illiterate, then what do we need to do to make it easy for them to buy on the menu? Lost in jargon? Yeah, don't understand the jargon, the benefits, features versus benefits, pictures. Yeah, make it dummy proof. Okay. So imagine, have you guys eaten at In-N-Out? You guys like In-N-Out? I know people are like cult-like about that. Or they talk about Five Guys. What's your favorite place?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out? You like In-N-Out? I like
yeah.
In-N-Out too, right? So when you go to In-N-Out, there's only like 3 or 4 things on the menu, right? The Habit, yeah, that's good. That's a simple menu too. In-N-Out's okay. Whataburger, yeah, I go to Whataburger in Dallas and the South and all that. But the beauty is that it's a simple menu. And you don't, like when you go to Whataburger or In-N-Out or Five Guys, do they give you a choice of what kind of meat you want? Do they give you a choice of like, do you want it like medium well or well done or?
Nope.
No?
No.
You just order the number 1 or number 2, right? Number 1 animal style. Okay, so that's the difference. Who wants to explain to everyone here the difference between custom versus customize? Because they're not the same thing, because most of you guys are offering custom. That's not good. What's the difference between custom and customize? Who wants to unmute and answer that?
I'll take it.
All right.
So I think the difference is, when you have a set of products, right, or a set package, you can also add on to that, right? So you have a very specific set of package to offer certain benefits for a particular client. It's okay to actually have an add-on to that. For example, in your example, choosing a steak, right, and having it medium well or well done.
Right. So Ryan, let's say you drive a Tesla and you went to the dealership and you get to customize your Tesla. So what kinds of things might you customize? Well, actually, Kieran's the car guy. Kieran, what kind of customizations? Kieran, you should follow Kieran O'Brien. This guy is incredible.
Thank you.
I'm going to
Hey,
ask
I
you
love cars too, so I'll follow him.
There we go. Yeah, wheels, body kit, you know, interior. Not much you could do on a Tesla because it doesn't have an engine, but you know, the visual stuff you can do.
What kind of car do you drive?
I actually don't have a car right now.
You just sold your car?
I have a Volkswagen Jetta right now, but I don't have like a fun car anymore.
What was the car we were driving around in before?
I was a BMW M6, sold it last week. Got something new coming.
How many horsepower is that thing?
720.
Does anyone have more horsepower in their car than this guy? Anyone higher than that? No? Okay. So Brian says, custom is built from the ground up, customize is tweaked.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to the Tesla dealership, can I get a custom car with 6 wheels and, you know, with a helicopter thing on top or no? But if it's off of a menu, if it's off of a template and it's coming off of an assembly line, it must mean it's low quality. No?
Nope.
So my buddy Welton has 2 Model X's because apparently his wife needed one too. I think those things are like $175,000.
Yeah, those are amazing.
And man, I love driving around town. Whenever I go to Vegas, I go to his house to borrow his car because I just love that thing. I think it's got like this ludicrous and then like super ludicrous mode. But that thing is a template. A lot of you guys don't want to offer a package because you think it's mindless or it's not creative or it's somehow like non-thinking or lower quality. Do you think and you guys think that's the case? Customizing means it's reliable. It means that you've done it before. You never go to a surgeon that's like, I got this new procedure for you. I want to try it. Never done before. I'm going to do this custom surgery. Instead of doing what all the other doctors do when you have this kind of operation, I'm going to do something kind of custom. Are you cool with that?
Right.
Yeah?
No.
No, you're not? Okay, I thought you were. Okay, no,
I'm
but
agreeing with you, but I'm not.
We want to innovate for your surgery, like for your brain surgery. We want to innovate and do something totally new.
No, thanks.
No? Okay. Okay, so you guys see the need to customize. Customize means options. It means, do you want fries with that? Do you want to supersize? Would you like to have a Diet Coke instead of a Fanta? Or you want a milk instead? Or instead of the fries, you want to have a salad or something to go with it, right? So in the menu, you allow people to customize. You have a few very basic choices. You don't have a cafeteria. You're not the Cheesecake Factory. You're going to customize those different items. And then what happens when the waiter takes your order? What happens next? Guys, tell me in the comments, what happens next? By the way, I'm going to just be prepared. I'm going to interview Kieran next on a few things, and then we're going to move into a Zoom room with some exercises. So be prepared to be a waiter. I'm just setting you up for this. Laying the background. Substitution, side orders, order, they ask for your details. Repeat your order back, and then it goes to the cook. That's right. Do you think the waiter is then going to say, okay, thank you, Kieran, for your order. I'm going to go back and cook your food, and I'll see you in like 20 minutes. So when you go to a restaurant, do you ever think the waiter, even though the waiter has to be knowledgeable about the menu and knows so tell me what exactly is in the salad, or how's the chicken done, or like they have to be able to answer the question. But would any of you guys expect that the waiter is going to go back there and actually know how to make the dish? Yeah, they'll bring you drinks. No, they wouldn't. Why not? Okay, I'm using these metaphors. You talk about the process. There's 2 main metaphors that we're mixing, which I know you're not supposed to mix metaphors. It's the waiter analogy, which is about the customization, and then there's the medical analogy, right? Metrics, analysis, action, the doctor, inbound marketing. They come to you, they trust you. The doctor isn't out there knocking on doors and trying to offer sales and discounts like, oh, if you're half off the surgery, what do you say? If you buy right now, I have only 3 left in stock. You'd never do that. Yeah, that's right, Mitchell. It's more efficient because everyone does their job. So why are we working with Vendasta? Because now I'm free to use my menu. I can name any menu item whatever I want. I can charge whatever I want with it. And I can deal with the customers in my lighthouse because I have the perceived authority. Meanwhile, when the food is ready, when they ding the bell and I go back to the window and I grab the plate and I bring it over to Kieran and I say, Kieran, here's your chicken marsala. Here it is. How do you like it? Right? I never have to worry about the cook doing things in the kitchen and, with doors being closed because I'm treating them well so that, the cook's not spitting in my food. By the way, never be mean to the people before you order. You know why?
They might spit in your food.
It doesn't matter like how rude they were or whatever. Never be mean to them before you order, okay? Or even like before you get the food, okay? Just trust me on that. I've heard of this is, I mean, there's a lot of women here, so I'm not going to repeat certain things that I've seen happen. I worked at Pizza Hut one time, and I can tell you some of the things that happened at Pizza Hut when I was in college.
Oh,
believe me, and if that causes you to not want to eat at Pizza Hut, it happens at every restaurant. So don't think like that's the only restaurant where nonsense happens behind the doors when like you are like not nice to the customer. Oh, they get you for sure. They get you, right? Okay, so it goes to the back, and in the back, the cooks are following something we call a recipe. Now the recipe is tied to the menu. So how do the recipe and the menu fit together? Somebody explain. Who wants to unmute and explain that? And whether it's Applebee's or Crapplebee's and they have a bank of microwaves, it's still the same thing, right? You see, like Applebee's got in trouble because one of the servers like went back there and took a cell phone video of like how they were like just microwaving the wings and the soup. And I think it tastes good. Half off appetizers.
Dennis, the recipe is controlled and repeatable so that they know exactly the results that's going to be produced every time somebody orders the number one. Okay.
Now, let me ask you guys, do you have a menu? Actually, let's do this. Let's have a little fun, okay? Everyone turn your video off. We have a little exercise here. Turn your video off. I don't want to see your face. Doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Okay. Video off. That means you, Elaine. Okay. Now, turn your video on if you have a menu. I mean, you have a clear set of packages that people can buy your stuff. Oh, good. Ron and Jeff, Urban, all you guys. Okay. And now turn your video off if your menu is not public, meaning people can't access what you're doing. Okay. So everyone else, everyone whose video is off, that means that people cannot clearly find what you have to sell. And the reason why people don't do that, the main reason is they believe they need to have a consultation and they're going to have a custom price. Well, once we have a discussion, then I'm going to tell you what the price is. But if you have list price, like, do you go to a restaurant and negotiate what the price is?
No.
No, why not? You want to get a deal, right?
It is what it is.
It is the price, right? And it's very clear. There's a clear process and it's scalable. And you're going to make it in volume, not because it's McDonald's with billions and billions served, but because you want a repeatable process and you're transparent about the results that you're offering. Why? Because when they came in on a snapshot report or whatever you want to call it, you're showing them how they're doing in Google search results. You're showing them how their PPC campaigns are performing. You're showing them which negative reviews they need to respond to. You're showing them how fast their site loads. You're showing them the 6 things that come in that Vendasta snapshot report that we pay $2 for, that we sell for however much we sell on our menu. And then every time they come in, they can see how things are going. You're being very clear about this. And if you have a lighthouse, let's say it's a dentist, you know exactly what the dentist is willing to pay. Basically $500 to $2,500, like Dr. Glenn Vo said. If you're serving personal injury attorneys or other, like maybe they have a bigger office, they have more attorneys, then you have customizations where the price goes up, where it's maybe your base price is $5,000 a month per attorney, but you have 10 attorneys, now you're charging them $50,000 a month, right? So you can customize. You see, that's the difference between custom and customize on the menu. So maybe the regular fries, I really love French fries. You can tell, look at this belly here. Actually it's below the screen, so you can't even see it. But I'd like to get the big thing of fries, right? With extra sauce and what have you. So I can pay more for that. So you allow for customizations off of your menu, but you can still publish your menu with customizations, okay? So why are you not, so for those of you, now everyone turn your video on. Why are you not, or what's stopping you from publishing a menu and having customizations? Like you can go to In-N-Out and you can get the regular double-double, but you know you can get a 4x4 animal style. I had a friend go to In-N-Out before the whole lockdown thing, and he ordered a 16x16. You guys know what a 16x16 is? It's 16 pieces of meat layered with cheese in between, and it was so big, wow. they had to put it like this. It was like a log of melted meat cheese, like this. And they stuck it in one of those tray things and just like it cholesterol out. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah, but that's called customize. It's still the same thing. It's because, why? Because 2 things. One is the underlying process in the back in the kitchen still the same. So the fact that that dude ordered a 16x16 did they have to change fundamentally how they cook the
No.
food or whatever?
No.
Did they have to fundamentally change the menu and how they source customers for that customer?
Nope.
No. And therefore, they're able to do something we call repeatable excellence, the same thing over and over again, right? Okay, I'm going to interview Kieran. And after that, we're going to go into a breakout room and you guys are going to practice as waiters talking about your menu, talking about the main thing that you offer, make it sound delicious, make it sound fantastic. Okay, does that sound good? Everyone sound good on that? Okay, because I'm going to eat right after this. So I've known Kieran for a few years. This guy is incredible. You should follow him, not just because he had a car that was 700 something horsepower. He is beyond his years in terms of his understanding of digital marketing. And it's so good that we actually built a digital marketing course. Actually, pull that thing behind the guitar. Pull that whole thing out.
Oh, yeah.
That one. And then pull the one on the left there next to the Stream Deck on the left there. All that stuff on the left there. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, pull that whole thing out. So we published this book, and it goes through all the different stages of helping. Actually, you talk about this.
Yeah.
What do we do here?
Yeah. So what's going on, everyone? My name's Kieran O'Brien. And yeah, like Dennis said, you know, I've had my agency since I was 16, turning 17 years old. When I was in high school, I started it. I got my very first client. Fast forward now, I'm 20 and I make a lot of, YouTube videos and Instagram content about digital marketing. And so I kind of grew this following of young entrepreneurs who wanted to start their own agencies, just like all of you guys, right? And so I came to Dennis with the idea to do a training program where we could show young adults and young entrepreneurs, really anyone of any age, it just happens to be my demographic, how to do what I do and what Dennis does, what all of you guys do, which is to have a consultancy and agency that can help small and local businesses perform online. And so we came up with this program. It's called SMMA University, and it's pretty much a full stack program to take them through all the different strategies, building teams, virtual assistants, all the different platforms, Facebook, Google, how to set up clients, how to scale your agency, how to hire, pretty much A through Z, what you need to know. And so that's what it is. And I think that, the processes that Dennis teaches, whether it's in my program or here on these Zoom calls or wherever it is, the processes that Dennis uses and that Blissmetrics have is, it's the best way to run and scale an agency properly because systems are everything. And to be honest, before I met Dennis, I didn't have many systems in place. I was kind of a, do it all, fully customizable type of agency. And I got to a certain point successfully doing that, but you can only go so far when you have your business set up like that. So
Ryan's asking, how do you spell his name?
Kieran. And then my last name is Obrien. I'm just at Kieran O'Brien on Instagram.
So Kieran, talk about how you were able to grow your agency, where you started as a consultant and now you're hiring other people, and then you started to build a lighthouse.
Right. I got my first client actually just because I didn't want to go to college, and I reached out to a local guy named Matt, and he owned 4 automotive repair shops locally. He kind of became my mentor, took me under his wing, and I started doing the social media and some of the marketing for his business. I had no idea what I was doing. I was 16 years old and I had no idea what I was doing. And when I started to look into it more, I figured out that people do this as a business and they call themselves agencies. And I kind of just learned about the world of digital marketing and just kind of taught myself. And so I learned things. I was completely self-taught, YouTube University, and started to get some results and figured out the whole social media thing, started to figure out the whole digital marketing thing. And then all of a sudden, what happens when you're good at something or when people like you, you start to get referrals. So Matt started referring me to people. And so I went all in on the automotive industry because it's what I'm passionate about. It's what I know. And here's a tip, guys. Another reason outside of just making the systems on the back end simple, which is a very good reason that you should niche down. Another reason that you should niche down is that business owners enjoy talking to people that they can relate with, right? Yeah. So I know all the lingo. I can talk about car count and ARO and all these different terms that you throw around in the automotive repair industry. And I think that's important for whatever industry that you're in. If you can speak the lingo, if you can relate to your clients, right? Exactly. That's why I'm sure the gentleman you were mentioning earlier who is a dentist himself, right? There's leverage in that. Yeah. And so that's another reason if you guys are thinking about maybe not niching down and trying to do it a bit differently, that is a big advantage, especially when you're smaller, when you have a small to medium sized agency. If you can speak that lingo and if you can hire people that understand the industry well, it'll also help you on the marketing side of things, because you're going to build out offers and campaigns and landing pages and websites where the client doesn't have to get involved in every little detail because you already know the industry. Yep. Okay. So I went off on a little tangent there, but that's great. That's how I got my first client, got a bunch of referrals after that, scaled it up. And then eventually I met Dennis and started implementing a lot more systems and processes, into my agency. So
fantastic. And now he's absolutely rocking, and he's able to take the earnings he's made to be able to hire more people and put more into marketing and systems. And that's what your bootstrap is up. So I see Bill Griffith. Hi, I'm 60. And I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. So I think you're good at math, and we can say that Bill is 3 times Kieran's age.
Yep.
How old are you again?
20.
20. What were you guys doing when you were 20? Isn't that crazy to think like Kieran has 4 years of digital marketing experience running an agency, and now he's got a robust set of clients? Isn't that incredible? But I look at this and I say, my goodness, I'm 45. I feel like I'm too old. Like I see Kieran stuff on like Snapchat or Instagram. I'm like, man, I'm like that old person who doesn't know how to use the VCR. You ever have it like you're trying to help your parents with the VCR, or like the cassette tape, you put the pencil in it and you wind it,
I learn far more from him than he learns from me, I'm sure. So
that's what they say. But so Bill, Bill, can you unmute yourself? Because I feel like Bill.
Yeah, sure. Hi.
So there's, what the little secret is, Bill, that folks like you and I have over people like Kieran, even though Kieran's like super intelligent and super bright and super hardworking and all that, is that we resonate better generally with our niche of business owners.
Yeah.
Because the business owners are closer in age to you and me, Bill. And also, not that this is the case with all of them, but a lot of young adults are more malleable. They're more open to mentorship, and also we can hire them. So we think about the experience that you have, Bill, in business. We can definitely, all of that stuff about building relationships, about selling, about organizing. Now, those of us who have had agencies for a few years now, we know that there's perceived authority and there's actual authority. So perceived authority is having the relationships and being able to get people, all the things like bedside manners, a good looking menu, all those, and then the actual authority is like, can we actually deliver? You can hire these young adults all day long, mentor them and help them build their businesses so that you don't have to become good at the stuff that they're good at. So Bill, like you and I, we look at like the stuff that Kieran does on social media. I could never follow him. Like, how many likes do you have on your Instagram posts on average?
Like 2,000 to 3,000. 2,000 to
3,000. So Bill, do you think like you and I could follow Kieran and make these cool posts that all these kids will follow us?
I'm signing up right away.
No. So Bill, what is your forte, and what can we, because you want to double down where you have strength. So where Bill, would you want to double down?
From the standpoint of my lighthouse?
Your lighthouse or your skill, or because for all of us, there's a customer that will uniquely listen to only you. Even though other people are saying the same thing, serving the same vertical, there are people that the sheep will only listen to your voice. So who is that? And what is your skill? And what about your story? What about your background? Is it that will cause people to uniquely resonate with you? That's why we've been focusing so much on personal branding in the first 10 weeks.
Well, I think similar to what you were saying, that is the older generations generally may be less or maybe a little bit hesitant to or concerned about not showing their intellect with new technology and all things technology. And so if somebody that's more aligned with their age group, they may be feeling that a little bit more comfort.
Right. They'd rather talk to someone their own age rather than someone who uses all this weird digital marketing lingo. What's your lighthouse, Bill? Or have you chosen a lighthouse?
Automotive repair, actually. So.
Oh, you guys should,
yeah,
get on this.
exactly.
Yeah, let's chat.
And do you have
great.
connections? Do you know people in town who own automotive repair shops?
Quite more than a few. Yes, sure do. Yes.
Okay. And do you think that if you had a menu and everything was documented out like this, and you had plenty of people that you interviewed and you had your Glenvo, that you could grow? How many clients do you have right now?
About a handful, maybe 5 or 6.
So do you think that if you put in place this kind of process, you could scale to 50 or 100 reliably and deliver value? Not just sell them, but actually deliver value?
I do, yes.
So what do you think is limiting your agency from growing? Not that growth is the only thing that people want. It's okay to, if you already have, I know some folks that run $1 million agency and they're happy to stay right there. But what is limiting your agency, or what's the pain point? I
think right now the pain point in my mind is just success stories.
Yeah.
And being able to instill some trust with them. I have more than a few that would give me a time of day to be able to come speak to them, but to actually be able to make a presentation that has some credibility, if you will.
Yeah.
Beyond just platitudes of what I would tell them, and I would do a good job for them, but I would look to be able to have some credibility that I can give them.
So how many of you guys are in Bill's situation where you have a handful of clients, and just because you're busy doing a lot of stuff, or you haven't put a process in place, you're not using the customer's voice to drive more clients for you? How many people are resonating with that? And if so, let's see, how many of you guys want to hear more about that? If so, maybe we can go an extra 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's Dennis, it's funny you bring that up. That's a problem that I had as of a month ago. I've never really asked customers for testimonials. I would get them voluntarily giving testimonials every now and then.
Yeah.
I never really asked them for it. And so when I actually started building out, I'm building like a sub brand to my agency specifically for automotive repair. Yeah. And when I started building out that website and those landing pages and everything that I'm going to be sending traffic to and webinars and all that, I realized I didn't have any testimonials. I had maybe 1 or 2. And so I went back to all my previous clients that I had lost, clients I still have. Yeah. And I went back and asked them for testimonials, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to give you a testimonial and talk about their success with you. Yeah. And so I was able to accumulate like 10 or 15 testimonials just from going back and simply asking. And so I think that's another thing. Don't be afraid to ask. If you have people you can get testimonials from, don't be afraid to ask. Always do it, because you never know when you might need those words down the line. So,
yeah. Okay. I was just with Tommy Mello, who has the #1 garage door business in the United States.
Wow.
$40 million. He's opening up locations all over the place. He's on his way to becoming a $1 billion company. And he's called me up the last couple months. And you know what his #1 thing is that he wants? Is the process, the exact questions to train his techs when they go and install a garage door or repair a garage door, the exact questions and methods to elicit that testimonial on the spot from the lady who just had her garage door done. You want to know what I told him? We can do it in 5 minutes. The questions to ask, because it's not enough to ask them for a testimonial. You want to get a good testimonial. So do you guys know, how do you get a good testimonial from somebody? Because you can ask them to submit a video, good luck. Or it's better when the technician's there or you're meeting that person on the spot and you say, hey, so how'd you think I did? Oh, I love working with Kieran. He showed up on time. He did a good job. He was knowledgeable and professional. Is that a good enough testimonial? Is that really going to work? It's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. Why not? Who wants to role play with me where you can be the customer in your vertical and I will elicit the testimony. I will gather the testimony from you, and then we'll switch where I'll be the customer and then you're eliciting the testimonial. Who wants to play?
I'll roll.
Greg? Okay. Let's try Greg then. Okay. And then I saw somebody really wants to say something a little bit earlier. We'll try to answer everyone's stuff in a bit. Okay. Greg, you ready?
Yep.
Greg, what's your vertical or niche?
Legal.
Legal.
Working with
Legal
attorneys,
stuff. What kind of legal?
mainly business consumer practice areas.
Okay. So tell me more about the lighthouse client that you would have or represent. What have you done for them? What kind of results? What do you think that they would say? And then we'll role play.
Your small law firm that does personal injury, bankruptcy, debtor work, estate planning, criminal defense, divorce and family law mainly. Not your intellectual property types, but the kind that have their business to their consumers. And been in it for 20 years, and I try to take a holistic approach. It's not about SEO or a good looking website. It's about what's working, what's not, what are your goals. And then I feel, whether it's listing, SEO, AdWords, or whatever's necessary to meet, to get them where they want to go.
Yep. Okay. So with personal injury attorneys, with doctors, and certain kinds of high liability professionals, those testimonials are more difficult because they're cagey about saying things, right? Have you tried getting a testimonial before?
Yes.
How did it go?
Have no problems because I'm coaching my clients on how to ask for testimonials all the time, reviews.
That's the best way to do it. Yep. Is to get a testimonial from them while you're coaching them. That's called inception. Now, the best way, now this doesn't work for consumers much, but if you're trying to interview a B2B client, then what you do is you say, I would love to have you on my podcast. And if you don't have a podcast, that's okay. You just declare that you have a podcast. And if for some reason you can't visit them because of coronavirus or what have you, you just get them on a Zoom call just like this. And you ask them questions about their business, and you don't say testimonial. Never say the word testimonial. Why not?
Because they know you're going to use it.
Because it's a one-sided thing.
Yeah.
But what happens when you say podcast?
It's a conversation.
Intriguing, something new. I haven't done that before.
And then you're flipping it where you're making it about them.
Yeah.
And you could say, hey, I'm Greg, and today's guest is so-and-so, runs a successful practice. Here's some great things. You kind of like stroke their ego a little bit about how good they are. And I wanted to bring them on the show to talk about X, Y, and Z. And the X, Y, and Z happens to align with what you do. So the very fact that you ask questions that are sort of like leading questions, and by the way, attorneys eat it up. You would think like attorneys would be the first ones to see through this. They eat it up, especially personal injury attorneys. And you're smiling.
Yeah, no ego there.
No, not at all. Better call Saul. None of that, right? And so when you make it about them, so when Tommy called me, and we did a training in front of like whatever, 100 of his garage door installing people, and plus the people, not just the service technicians, but the people that are in the call center that are arranging the calls, we'd ask questions around. So tell me about your neighborhood and where you live and your house, and what do you do to make your house so nice? Or I saw your pictures, and you give them some compliments about how nice it is. And then you say, so Sally, step me through the process on what it was like working with A1 Garage. And so she'll say, well, we scheduled this appointment, and our buddy Richard Osborne, the technician, he showed up on time, and he did a good job, and I'm very happy. It was a squeaky garage door, and now it works really well, and it just looks so nice, and they were very friendly, and so they kind of wander. So when initially you ask them to recount the experience step by step, it's not that they are hesitant about working with you. It's that their brain is having to go rewind and trying to assemble exactly what happened. So the first time through, when they recount what happened, it is not a good one. So then you say, wow, that is great. Thank you so much, Greg. Now let's do that again. Take me again from the top. Talk to me about the process step by step and what happened and how you feel. Now you might think like, what? They just answered it. Why would I ask them to repeat the thing again? Why? Because the second time through, there's more clarity. They've already created the trail, and they can follow that trail, and they can say it with more conviction and more energy. Because the first time through, they're just trying to put the words together in their brain, right? Now the second time through, it's more lively. They know kind of what the phrases are, and then you're coaching them on it. Now the cool thing is that if you're doing it through a Zoom call, and you have 5 minutes in the beginning. You know, the first 5 minutes you talk about whatever you talk about, like, you know, pleasant, sort of polite sorts of conversation. And then you gradually step into this. That is the key thing you want to preserve. You know what the number one thing is that will poison a testimonial? You guys need to know how to do this, because if you don't do this, you basically ruin all your testimonials. How would that be, ruining all your testimonials? And you might go out there and you're gathering all the testimonials, like, oh, Dennis said to gather testimonials. And then every one you have is just being ruined. I mean, that's just something that's not good, is it? The number one thing.
If it seems like they're selling for you, then that could taint it.
That's related to that, them selling for you, because that doesn't seem natural. The other thing is that when they're giving you a testimony or walking through the process, they have a little bit of fear, or they're camera shy, especially if you meet them in person and they're having to look into that lens. Most people are not media trained. Like Kieran knows how to look into the camera because he's like born with a cell phone in his hand. He makes YouTube videos. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here in my patio. Check this whole thing out. I'm with my buddy Casey. Oh, look, a fancy Italian sports car. You know? Most of us don't know how to do that. So what you do is, if you're meeting them in person, to be able to get, by the way, the number one factor that ruins a testimonial is them feeling unnatural and not feeling like a friend-to-friend kind of conversation. So to Greg's point, if it feels like they're selling for you, people can smell that. Or if they're a little bit nervous, which is normal, right? So what you do is you look at them and then you hold the phone. So instead of doing this at them, where you put the phone in their face like this, that's tough, right? Because then they're like staring in the eyeball right here. This big eyeball makes fun of you. You look at them, you hold the phone at a 30-degree angle, and you just look at them like this, and the phone is recording, and you say, Kieran, that's great. Tell me that again. Let's start from the top one more time. That was great. One more time, right? And then you go through it, and then you can, instead of, so the first time is kind of rough. You just kind of get the lay of the land of what they're saying. Then you say, that's awesome. Now, one more time, let's go from the top, right? They go through it. Then you pull out particular examples. Now, you don't start and stop the camera. Every time you start and stop the camera, you're reminding them that you're recording. So you want them to forget that this phone is over here at a 30-degree angle. They're just looking at you. Say, just look at me. We're just having a conversation. And if they appear at all slightly nervous, you say, hey, don't worry. Our video editors, they know how to make you look beautiful, right? They're not worried about what they're saying. They're worried about like how their hair is and things like, especially females. I mean, it's true. Ladies, back me up. This is true, right? Rena knows this is true. And then you start to focus in on particular details. Now, the key is, when you've gotten the basics laid out of what happened and how they did a good job and some of the particular details, you then say, how did I make you feel? You know, working with me, how did I make you feel? Why are we saying that? Because mechanically, yep, you know, Kieran did this and this. Yes, I got more leads and sales. Yes, my garage door is nicer. Yes, you know, I have better SEO results or all that. But why do I ask him, how do you feel? Maya Angelou, that's right, to inspire trustworthiness. Why is that? Well, think about remember, what is the number one thing that poisons a testimonial?
Inauthenticity.
Inauthenticity. So how do you counter that?
Making it authentic, getting emotions involved.
Yeah, when you bring out the emotion. And maybe they mentioned something about, you know, I didn't like really how my house looked, or something about, it doesn't have to be shame, but something isn't quite right. And now they feel better because of it. And now you're tapping into why they bought you, not because their toilet was broken, not because they were in a divorce, not because like whatever it is, but there's something about why they hired you that goes back to you. You're going to anchor back to why they hired you and how it makes them feel. If you can tap into how it makes them feel, then continue to ask questions on that particular point and go for another 2 or 3 minutes. You can do it in Zoom and you can do it live. It's better when you do it live, of course, because face-to-face, right? Do that, it'll be incredible. And then you take that video, you put it in your content library. It could be a Dropbox. Remember, I was showing you guys in another session here on my phone that I've got video that's stored down in 4 different places. Of course, there is the photos, which is native, right? Here's all the photos that are here. Of course, though, I'm backing up to iCloud. Then I have it here in Dropbox. So I have all these things in Dropbox, which I know I'm paying again for. I have Amazon Photos and I have Google Photos. So I'm paying for 4 storages, which is maybe like $10 a month. So I'm paying like $40 a month. So I'm doing this in 4 different places. Now, if it's already being backed up in iCloud, why would I also do Amazon Photos? And why would I also do these other ones? Because Amazon Photos lets me categorize by who they are, where they are, and the object. Amazon has better facial recognition than Facebook and Google. So if I wanted to do a search for all the people that, hopefully my Wi-Fi is good, I can find all the pictures of me and Kieran in Las Vegas, right? So here I'm doing a search for Las Vegas, and now I got all the photos in Las Vegas. I didn't tag them. This is done automatically, right? And then it's easier for my video editors. Now, Amazon Photos is a little slower to upload. Dropbox is faster at uploading. Hey, there's pros and cons and all that, but now I've got these videos and I send it to my virtual assistants and I have them edit. It costs me maybe $10 or $15 per video to get it edited in a certain format. And if you want the format and the framework and the training, I think we're posting all that to Conquer Local Academy. That is the fuel that you're going to use for your marketing. So what's more powerful, Kieran? You on video talking about how awesome your stuff is, even though you are awesome, or all of these lighthouse area testimonials talking about you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what is going to be, have you ever been to a restaurant where maybe it's like you're in the airport or you're in some like weird town and you don't know any of the restaurants? Like maybe there's one that you recognize because it's a chain. And then you see this other one and it says world famous hamburgers. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you really believe, like, what do you think when you see something like that?
Probably not true.
What do you guys think? Lies, says Jimmy. Yeah. Hype. Terrible. Yeah. What happens if you go to a neighborhood? Like I remember, you know, I lived in Mountain View for 5 years because I worked at Yahoo, and I would bike up to, you know, Google was also headquartered in Mountain View, and it was about 6 miles to go to their headquarters. It was 5.7 miles to go to Yahoo. So I lived kind of in between both. So sometimes I would have dinner at the Google cafeteria because they had better food. I mean, they did. And it was free too. The Yahoo, it was subsidized. But I had to go through East Palo Alto. You guys know East Palo Alto? That's kind of hood, isn't it? And there were signs in the neighborhood that would say, we have a safe neighborhood. This is a drug-free neighborhood, right? What do you guys think when you go to a neighborhood and it says, this is a drug-free, crime-free neighborhood? You think it's a really safe neighborhood, don't you? Because it says so. The sign says it's a safe neighborhood, right? Lock your car. So when you go to let's say, you know, you're in a bad part of town and there's barbed wire and, you know, like that coily barbed wire and like all the bars and all that stuff. And it says, this house is very safe. Do you feel safe because it says it's safe?
No.
No? Okay. So if you're a digital marketer, or if you're a local business and you see a digital marketer saying like, oh, I'm a really good digital marketer. Isn't that the same thing? You want to get the customers to do that for you.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg, on that one. What do you guys think about that? About the importance of how your recommendations and these testimonials and reviews, just in the same way that you're going to rank the reviews for the customers by running a snapshot report, you're going to have your own reviews, right? You're going to collect these testimonials in a different way. That goes hand in hand with your menu. So what happens if you have a menu and people can customize it and you have a clear niche that's tied to that thing that you do, and you're collecting testimonials and you ask questions when you're doing the interview or podcast, Greg, or whatever you want to do, and you're asking questions that are related to the menu. So tell me about the chicken marsala and the cheeseburger. Did you like the cheeseburger? And then they start talking about your menu items. Now they've built your marketing for you. But you can see that if you don't have a menu and then you try to interview a customer, then what are they going to say? Oh, I really like Kieran. You know, he's a really good guy. He's very knowledgeable. I got good results. But that's not specific enough. I want them to talk about the menu items. The chicken sandwich, wow. The chicken sandwich at Kieran's Chicken Shop was really amazing, right? I think I saw a chicken place was called the Ku Klux Klan. Like there was a chicken thing, I don't know. I think that's bad, but I don't know. I think it was like in the South I saw that one.
Yeah.
It's a terrible name, isn't it? Anyway, there's one in Austin. There's a chicken place. It's called Cluckers. Or whatever. Have you seen that? There's a burrito place too. Anyway, whatever. So you guys see that? All right. Now let's go. Oh, most of you guys are still here. That's good. Now we're gonna do our Zoom room. And for this, you guys ready for a Zoom room? You guys have done Zoom rooms before? Yes. All right. And what I want you to do is pretend you're a waiter in your restaurant, and I want you to talk about your menu. Andrew, let's break into groups of 3, and everybody gets 1 minute to talk about what's on their menu. Of course, it's your digital marketing agency, and talk about your snapshot report. Maybe you call that a scorecard or your audit or whatever it is, and talk about the other things that you have. So what do you have on the menu? You probably have a consultation. We call it a power hour. By the way, I don't like to give out free consultations. You guys can if you want, if that's what you offer. Like Mexican restaurants will give you free chips, but I'd recommend charging for that consultation. Why? Because you're a professional, right? And then what is that? You have some kind of maybe, you know, reputation management, maybe PPC, maybe whatever is like one other key product that you have, and just talk for 1 minute about your product and what's on the menu, like a couple items on. You don't want to have 20 items on the menu, because if you ask, would you ever go to the Cheesecake Factory and say, so tell me about everything on the menu, Kieran? Can you walk through every item on the menu and tell me about each one? No, I'd be hungry and I've already left by then, okay? So is everyone clear on that exercise? Some of you guys have to go, that's totally okay. This is bonus time. We're here for you. I want to see you guys drive sales. We're not here just to talk for the fun of it. I love hanging out, but I want to see you guys drive sales. See, everything we're doing, we're trying to have fun too, but I want to see you guys grow your agencies. Okay, is everyone clear on this exercise? And then we're going to meet back in 5 minutes. Everyone good? Yes? Okay.
Hey.
Zoom room time, Mr. Andrew.
Here we go. Zoom rooms. Let's go. Boom. Join your rooms. Make sure you're accepting the join room.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, who is that? Who is that?
Brian.
Who's that? Right? What's going on?
My room was shut down, so I guess everyone was asleep.
Oh, it shut down. Oh, nobody joined. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Well, let's do it here.
Cool. Let's do
Hey,
it.
look at this. 2 sessions about talking about your menu, talking about packages earlier today and your menu today. Well, I'd love to hear from you, Ryan. Talk a little bit about your menu.
Yeah. So what we got on the menu? Okay. So what industry are you in? Just, I guess you can make up an industry.
Oh yeah. Here, let's do. Well, what's your lighthouse?
Oh Lord, Jesus.
Sports marketing, right? You played football. I played football.
People did want to. I mean, you know, someone mentioned sports marketing. I chose to go with universities, but we can do. Yeah, let's do universities.
Universities. All right. All right. Okay. Kick it off. What's your question?
Sure. So, what's on our menu? Okay. So, you know, honestly, before we get started, I would like to just kind of talk about, you know, ways that we have helped universities just like you in your space. So some of the things that we like to do first is kind of start off with, you know, our initial assessment, right? We call it the snapshot report. And basically we're going to break down your presence. And this, you know, also given this could be, we can break down the 4 colleges that you have, or which is education, College of Arts and Sciences, College of Business, or maybe the College of Nursing, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that we've created that report, blah, blah, blah. All right. So based off of what I am seeing here, I think that it would be best for us. We have a stack, right? And then this stack it requires, basically it provides you with the 3 core things that can actually help us understand what you're currently doing and the effectiveness of each marketing effort, right? Whether that be your CRM and your customer loyalty programs, as well as your your reputation, and also your social media. Okay. So we feel like this is a great place to start because this will allow us to digest what you're currently doing and figure out how we can actually help you guys be better within the next 6 months and ultimately help you guys achieve your goals. So I think the best place is to start off with our local stack for you guys. And then as we grow, we can optimize. And as we have a better understanding, we can go into the additional add-ons, products, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah.
I think that's kind of maybe what we're trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to provide some quick feedback, you know, there's I hear an opportunity to relate to them on a deeper level. So rather than just saying like reputation management, you know, why are they doing that? You know, so generally if, you know, working with universities and colleges, you know, I had a, you know, scholarship playing football at this university and that university, you know, those kinds of things. And, you know,
did you really?
No, I didn't. You did.
Oh,
I did play secondary football, but
like you too?
Or post-secondary. But you know, you can relate those things back to the university. You know, so you can say, you know, what we do is what we do is we help. You know, this kind of relates back to your XYZ. We help universities, you know, attract more client or more students. You know, you know, maybe they're looking for international or domestic, because universities up in Canada, they make like 4x more on international clients, you know, or international students, and, you know, and increase your alumni donations, right? Which is also another big community engagement. But relating that, you know, we help with reputation for these reasons, you know, so relating it to that. And then also, I know, you know, it's just on the spot, but you can relate to, try to ditch the technical stuff. You know, like the stuff that we talk about at Vendasta, you know, product-led growth and this and that, you know, like change it, you know, don't use the technical terms, and just have that conversation with them and just say, you know what, this is what we do. You know, we manage online presence for this reason. It helps you, you know, attract new students and, you know, donors and, you know, just those kinds of things. But that was something like
I started with a story though. Like, you know, you make it extremely relatable when you start with the actual story based off of your experiences.
Yeah. And then you just simplify it, because it can be really complex. You know, and you just say, generally, this is where we start, you know, and in the community session earlier, just like Sam, you know, this is generally where we would start. If you want, you know, if you want to start at a higher level, we can do that too. But this is where we start. So if you think like Five Guys, burgers and fries, right? Go to Five Guys, you know, hey, we have burgers. We, you know, we cook our fries in peanut oil and this and that, you know, and that's where we start. And then you can add on these things. So that's the customized piece. But you can't do a custom burger. You can customize it, but you can't do a custom burger. So yeah, that's good. How about, I mean, we're a little bit over time, but how about you, Alex? Do you have your menu picked out? Oh, here, I'll unmute you here. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Hey, Alex. Yeah.
Hey. I was in another group, but I was trying to flip my camera because this was turned off on my phone. And then it just kicked me out. And then I rejoined. I just jumped into with you guys here. Yeah,
no worries, man. Here we are. Yeah, let's hear your menu quickly, and then I gotta bring everybody back. But
yeah, so I actually have learning center and teaching center in my local areas right now to get more enrollment with Facebook and Instagram advertising. So that is basically the main thing that I do.
Nice.
Okay. And what is the next thing in terms of the
menu?
Time to kick everyone out.
Oh yeah, they're coming back in about 7 seconds. But Alex, that's a good start to the menu. And then you can add on, you know, fries if they want fries with that, or if they want, you know, ketchup and mustard, and you can kind of, you know, add on to that for social media marketing. But it's a good start.
Awesome. All right, thanks, guy.
Yeah.
Sorry for the suddenly jumping in with you guys.
No worries, that was good. We all got to practice.
Andrew, I just need to say I was supposed to be with Doreen, but she didn't show up. I was on. I
So you
couldn't do
got to
it.
practice the whole time.
No, I
Nice.
couldn't do it. There was no one. There was no one there.
I was
That's
also
all right.
alone for a while too, but then they finally showed up. One person showed up. The other one
Nice.
was on the phone. I'm like, unmute yourself.
I had one show up.
The people in my room weren't too good. I didn't learn much.
Yeah. Well, we started getting into a conversation, and you jerked us back. I've lost him.
Oh yeah, sometimes it takes a little while to get going. You know, we'll keep doing this, and we'll get better with the rooms. But hey, thanks everyone for working with us to continue with breaking out into the rooms for these exercises. But Dennis, you wanna continue with the learnings here?
Yes. So these exercises are critical for you to cement in and crystallize the knowledge that you have. A lot of people view these as webinars where you just sit there and watch and eat some popcorn and go to the bathroom and whatever it is, but you really have to participate. If the goal is to grow the agency, this is a program, this is not a course, right? We want to see you take these actions, and the exercise we just did, hopefully you learn that you have to be able to talk about your menu with the items on your menu with such precision and energy that people can see it and smell it and taste it. And it's like when you drive by KFC or whatever, they like pump the stuff into the air. So it's like cheating, right? And you want to do that too. And if you are hesitant about describing what exactly you do because you don't have a clear menu, you're losing deals that could have happened. Because the client, by the time they get on the phone with you, they want to buy. They're predisposed to buy if you've done all the things that we talked about because you built authority because of the lighthouse. So learn to practice how you do this. Practice, with your wife or significant other. Practice interviewing other people. Every time you're talking to somebody is an opportunity to practice speaking. It's all public speaking. And this is what's going to make or break your agency, is your ability to speak. When you have a menu, it's like a script. It makes it a lot easier. Next week, we're going to talk about the power hour. And you can call it your consultation. You could call it your diagnostic. You could call it your MRI. You could call it, there's a lot, use the term that is relevant to your industry. But it's when you have that initial assessment, when you're talking to the client about their goals, content, and targeting, you're eliciting pain. By the time they come to that meeting, you've already qualified them as someone who probably could become a customer. And you guys know in sales, there's something called BANT, right? Budget, authority, need, and timing. So by the time they come to that, you've either charged them for that and you've onboarded them by collecting their goals, content, and targeting through your Google form or through Infusionsoft or through a spreadsheet or through an email. There's many ways to collect that. And that way you're able to have a meaningful conversation that leads to a sale. You're walking them through the snapshot report, the 6 different areas, and talking about what's going on in the same way. I'm switching analogies here. Instead of the menu, I'm moving to the medical analogy. They're talking to you as a doctor. You're wearing the white lab coat and you're explaining to them what's going on in the x-ray. And because your listings are messed up, you need to buy this product. Because your website's messed up, you need to buy this product. Because your social media is good, you don't have to do anything here. Because you're not running ads or remarketing, we need to do this. So that's what we call metrics, analysis, action. Snapshot shows you what's working or not. The analysis is the discussion about why that's good or not from a business standpoint. And the action is, here's what you need to do because of that. Therefore, we're going to do this, this, and this. And based on the sum total of that, here's the thing that we need to do. So when the doctor, after going through your charts and the blood and all this, and they say, Kieran, I know you had a skiing accident and you had pain here. Well, it looks like according to the x-ray that you broke your collarbone. And therefore, we're going to need to do like this, this, and this. And it's going to take this much time. And here's the price. Is Kieran going to say, I think you could do it for half that price. Or what, I only want to do this part and this part. I don't want to do the surgery part. I just want the massage and the pain pills, right? Or we diagnose, Teresa, and she says she has a heart attack, right? And we look at it like, actually, you have heartburn, Teresa. So we're going to give you some Tums. No, I want the heart surgery. No, so when we are data-driven, we're logical, and we go metrics, analysis, action, and we put it in the context of a hospital where by the time they talk to you as the doctor, they have respect for you because you're trained, because you've documented what you have, right? As the digital flight plan, if you're a pilot or what have you, you've already put it into the context. Do you ever go into the hospital and say, I want to talk to every single doctor and every single surgeon and ask them for 5 minutes what they do. What would happen if you did that? They'd say, get out of here. We're here taking care of patients, right? So next week, we're going to talk about how to close deals when you get them on the phone, and how to do it so they've already paid you and you've already set it up that by the time they come in, because you have their goals, content, and targeting, because you've run a snapshot report and you have all their data, they have no logical reason except to buy from you. And it's not because of pressure. It's not because you're trying to use FUD, which is called fear, uncertainty, and doubt, like what the emailers do. It's because you're using logic, you're leveraging your authority and trust, and you should be able to close most of those deals. And the deals that you don't close, they're ones you didn't want anyway, because you discover in the process that they're a nightmare client. You know what I'm talking about? There's like some people you don't want to, but just like you don't want them, right? Because they would call you like 8 times a day or that kind of thing, right? Okay. So your homework is to practice talking about your menu. Make your menu public. Make 1-minute videos, practicing. In the same way when we collect testimonials, the first one through is kind of a rough draft. And like practice talking about what you do and what you offer. If you don't have a package, put the package together so you have a menu. Put the menu on your website. I don't want to tell the prices because I might, scare them away. Good, because you don't want the people that are going to be the bad customers. In fact, the ones who will pay you more are the ones who treat you better. Trust me on this one. Okay? So who's good on the homework? You guys good on the homework? Anyone have any questions about that? Infinite web design. Good. Thank you. I know Brendan Thomas, we call it Brendan Thomas, has done a fantastic job in practicing doing this. Brendan's made, how many videos have you made? 100? How many times have you, unmute yourself for a second.
A lot.
And his initial videos, his initial videos sucked.
Horrible.
Really bad. And all your videos suck. I know we have to say all the babies are beautiful and everyone's food that you go eat at their house is delicious, but that's just not the case, right? Your first ones are going to suck. So just get past the suck as fast as you can. Do a good job. Not everyone's going to be like Kieran. Kieran's like, first take, everything's amazing, right? But I'm more than twice his age, and Bill's 3 times his age. So we might need a little more practice, right? Malcolm's probably double his age too, right? So practice that. Don't do it just one time. Practice talking about your products and services. Post it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, your website, wherever it is you put it. Like post your stuff. And then next Friday, we're going to talk about the power hour, which is how you close that initial consultation. That's not the onboarding setup. That's not the kickoff meeting. That's the one where you close the deal. Okay? What do you guys think?
That's awesome, Dennis. I
You
can
guys
see
are
a lot.
awesome.
I can see a lot of big thumbs up. Everyone's good with the homework, it looks like, for the most part. And hey, just wanted to say thank you to Kieran. Everyone give it up for Kieran. Special guest. Thank you so much. Everyone give him a follow. And Dennis, thank you again as usual. Fantastic session. Can't wait for that power hour.
See you guys in the group. And this is not like church on Sunday. You got to be good all days of the week, okay? So I want to see you behave during the week. You're not only a Christian on Sunday or whatever it is you believe, okay? I want to see you post your stuff in the Facebook group, and we'll give love and feedback to each other.
Right on.
You guys rock.
Hey, quick question. You said about the book last week. How do we go about learning more about where you do the book for? We can do a book?
Oh, send a note to operations@blitzmetrics.com.
Or operations@blitzmetrics.com.
Got it. Okay. And I'll just tell you real quick, because I got to run this other thing. People have been asking questions about the certification and about the documents and these other pieces. All of that is coming. So this module is almost over. There's only 2 more sessions in this module. There's the power hour, which is next week. The week after that is the $1 a day strategy, which is how you bring people to your menu to drive more consultations and more people buying packages from you. For those people who have completed all the exercises that we've done in all 18 weeks and can prove that they've done it, because we're going to give you a checklist and you have to show that you've done it, and you pass a quiz at least 80%, and we're going to award you a badge as a certified digital marketing agency, a CDMA. How's that for an acronym?
Love it.
And that'll put you in a directory that's eligible for leads that we're going to feed you. And we have, as you can imagine, the Glenn Vos of many other industries, and they're happy to promote for you, and they're happy to drive leads to you. So these are people who are ready to buy. You don't have to convince them. So when people go into the hospital, do you have to convince them they're in pain? Do you need salespeople? Like, do hospitals have salespeople? I mean, don't you think if they had salespeople, hospitals would make more money, right? That Alex Baldwin and everyone's always closing and try to sell me this pen, right? Do you think the hospital will be able to sell more procedures?
Probably not.
No, why not?
No one's in pain unless they are.
That's right, because they're coming to your hospital. So what you need to do is reframe. Instead of being a salesperson, you are a value-added consultant. You are a specialist. You are a diagnostic. You are a person who solves problems. You are a chief painkiller, right? You're the doctor. And so when they come to you, the patient comes to you, doctor doesn't need to sell. You already have the authority. You move them from metrics to analysis to action. You talk through what's going on. They agree with you logically. And then you say, because of these things, Kieran, that we've shown you, we're going to have to do this kind of surgery, these kinds of pills. It's going to be 3 days and, you know, we're going to have to amputate your leg, you know, whatever it might be, right? But you agree because we've gone through all the charts and all that. And then the client will buy from you. And you're selling based on authority. This is not fear-based selling. This is not relationship-based selling. This is authority-based selling, which is a combination of all these other items. So next week, we're going to put it all together. Meanwhile, get your ingredients together, because if you don't have a menu, if you don't have a lighthouse, if you haven't done these other things, then you're not going to get the value out of next week. All right, guys? Rock on. I hope you have a good weekend.